I respect everybody till they earn my disrespect. Well, it's come out lately that all us tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists have been right, and right for a long time, because as the investigation unfolds about the NSA spying on us and different programs that they have of storing our uh, private conversations, emails, YouTube videos, whatever. Um, there's a story on tonight. Uh, just out of curiosity, a man was holding this little tiny chip in his hand, and he was telling how this little chip could hold 10,000 copies of probably a 1,500-page book that he had in his hand. 10,000 copies. And now we have a 1.5 million square foot NSA data collection center that is going to be dedicated to storing all of our emails, our electronic communications, and all of this basically is unconstitutional. We are supposed to be free in all of our communications, whether they be written, electronic, telephone, it doesn't matter. So basically, what we see is systematically our politicians are putting, sometimes it's public opinion, but sometimes public opinion is based on lies and deception and propaganda. But, uh, you know, we are being told now, it's coming out, that it's been happening for a very long time. And us conspiracy theorists, tinfoil hat wearing, truthers have been saying this for a long time. So we have been right for a long time. And now that's just coming out. So, how is it that if this has been happening for so long that, a couple of Boston bombers slipped through the cracks? You were warned by Russia twice about these kids and they just slipped through the cracks. I find that very impossible. Impossible. After 9/11, we were told that the reason for 9/11, the main reason, was that it was miscommunication between government agencies. One wasn't telling the other they weren't sharing information. What a crock of shit. If this is the ineptitude of our government back then, and now things have actually gotten no better, because this is what they're using for an excuse now. Well, we just weren't communicating enough between departments, between agencies. That's a lie. These events that happen are immediately pounced upon by media who are led by old Bunghole and his minions to, forward his agenda. And if you look at his agenda, it's, but back to the data mining for a minute. I want to stay on that subject. The data mining that's been going on, and as I said, for a long time now, only justifies what we have been saying all along. And, that is just the tip of the iceberg. We know that they do listen in on our communications. They do watch our YouTube videos. They do read our emails. This is a fact. This is a fact. Now, to store these things and for later use, it is absolutely preposterous. As I said, this is putting supposedly public safety before the Constitution, which you can't do. You can't put anything above the Constitution. I don't care what a bunch of guys in robes say. The Supreme Court is not supreme. The Constitution is. And this is a blatant stepping on our constitutional rights. The IRS, singling out anybody is, a constitutional infringement. Now we find out that these same people who are, spending our money extravagantly on these big conferences and bonuses that are just absolutely through the roof, at the same time, as a matter of fact, I think it's reward for boning certain political thought groups. And at the same time, now we find out a new story is that, over 1,000 of these people, while partying on our money, while getting rewarded with big-ass bonuses, were also misusing your and I credit cards issued to them by you and I. Wow. How deep does this get? And how much are we really going to put up with? What did we find out lately now that all these agents that go and accompany our ambassadors, our president, our vice, whatever, out of the United States, in their forays beforehand are, engaging in prostitution, maybe pedophilia, drunkenness, you know, and this isn't the first time. This is happening over and over again. Just a blatant disregard for you and I and our money, and this is supposed to be these people are charged with the safety of our ambassadors, our dignitaries overseas and over in other countries. Wow, wow. So now we're being proven, that we were right, us tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists, that we're right in that we were being watched in more ways than one. It's now coming out that, through your certain video games and now certain TVs. This isn't supposition. This isn't, something I'm, bringing off the top of my head. These are facts. Televisions, Xboxes, certain video games are now going to be equipped to be able to watch you in your living room play your video games. Oh, what? Wow. This is incredible, people. We're really going to put up with this? Now, Big Brother is in our living room. I mean, we've already found out just now, and it's coming out, these are facts, that they were in our living room all along. When you communicate with your family, when you communicate with your friends, when you communicate with maybe a group, a church, or whatever, you are being watched. You are being monitored. That's so unconstitutional. We were charged by our founding fathers that we, you, I, the American public, were to keep check on our politicians, and we were to never trust them, because power corrupts. I don't care who you are. To think for even a minute that all evil resides overseas and not here in our United States and never can reside in our White House, you're foolish. You're being foolish. Evil resides everywhere. And we've seen this so many times. Every time one of these freak shows that we find out, either a mass shooter or some guy who's kept 3 women captive in his house for over 10 years. Everybody around him says he was so normal. I didn't know. Ted Bundy. I didn't know. He was so normal. Evil resides right here. It resides right before our eyes. And, they know how to talk to people. They know how to sway. And it is the most suave and debonair that we must look out for. And that we must vet even more thoroughly than somebody else. I want somebody who's forthcoming about themselves, who they are, where they came from. It doesn't matter as long as you're truthful, if you're honest. If you're hiding something, then I'm going to be naturally curious. And I'm going to look into what you're hiding and why. It is coming out, and as I've said in one of my previous videos, that Justice John Roberts had usurped anti-child trafficking international law when he adopted his 2 Irish children. And this is the reason for his last-minute change of heart on old bunghole scare. This, healthcare killing legislation that nobody read before they signed into law. And now congressmen are scared shitless of this because they're learning what's in it and what's going to be brought down on the rest of us. Yet they want out. Look at all of these things that are going on. Our president is sending our, military after people that espouse or teach or share their Christian faith. Yet we are coddling Muslims. There are 6 high-ranking Muslims in our White House. We need to look at this, all that old bunghole appointed. one of our Supreme Court justices, and it's not Roberts, that O'Bunghole appointed and is successfully in our Supreme Court right now, was his main attorney that was defending his fraudulent identification cases that Orly Tates was bringing against him. Isn't this a conflict of interest? And if it is corruption. This is, how many examples have I brought up now? And these are things that are happening right now. We're getting drawn into yet another war, arming supposed rebels that are supposedly trying to overthrow some evil regime over there. And look at it. It's Muslims. We are again, coddling Muslims. And it's funny how, look at the last attacks on this country. They've been blamed on Muslims. A shooter at an army base, a couple of Boston bombers, this guy in LA that just shot up a bunch of people, the two guys in Jersey that were beheaded, those were Muslims. Didn't even hear that story. That was kept quite mum. Then the guy over in Britain, that guy hit, he got beheaded in the middle of the street by two Muslims. Muslims commit some pretty nasty atrocities, and yet we were told that we must, from Bill Cosby of all people, I looked up to this guy until I heard him say that we must look up to and emulate the Muslim. I guess Cosby's never written Sharia law, never learned anything about the Muslims, or I doubt he would say that. I thought I knew Bill Cosby as a smart, intelligent man. After something like that comes out of his mouth, I find him to be unintelligent about a subject, that one in particular. But we need to look at all of these things that are happening before our eyes. These are all very big, egregious, filthy, nasty attacks on the American public, the IRS, the DHS, the DOJ, going through emails of reporters. This is incredible. These are so egregious. But I believe, it is my belief, my tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists believe, that this is all to cover that O'Bunghole is not American. He's an illegal alien Muslim camel fornicating asshole who usurped our White House. And this information will sooner or later come out. You can't hide the truth forever, and that is one big story. And I find it very troubling that somebody like Fox News, who are supposedly looking out for us, stopping the spin, they won't even report on it, even though one of their reporters reported, Jana Winter reported, that they were scared off by O'Bunghole's minions to stay away from the birther issue. Now, this was just before Holder grabbed a hold of her and charged her with, what is he charging her with? Obstruction of justice for not turning over her source on a story covering a shooter sending a diary, that he wrote about the crime he was going to commit, and he wants that source supposedly. So he's scaring her now with that case, which is absolutely bogus. But this is Chicago-style tactics that have been used from day one by O'Bunghole. Sign this into law so that we can find out what's in it. Are these really the people that are representing you? Who are they representing? Who is Holder representing, handing over thousands of guns to Mexican, notorious Mexican drug gangs? And he put 2 supposed homing devices or GPS devices in 2 out of over 2,000 guns. How can this be in any way considered intelligent? We need to wake up, America. The time is now. We have to do something now. I love my country. God bless America. God bless us all. I think we're going to need it.